Good evening, everyone. Good evening, world. Good evening, Mazezoke speaking to us today, Monday, the 1st of November, 2021. As it is now, we have apparently 5 more days to the Anambra state election, exactly 60 days to Christmas, and about no less than 60 days to Christmas, or rather 61 days or so to end of the year. You know, I hope you all can hear me clearly, loud and clear. So far, it's a lot of things been happening, people. So far, so a lot of things has been happening. Um, I will say to us, welcome to November. Welcome to November. I'm happy that you are alive in the month of November, that you made it to November, and I will say happy November. Having said that, a lot has happened in the Southeast in the last 48 hours. Obviously, within the Southeast, we still have a lot of lives being lost. Obviously, a lot of madness is happening. I mean, I couldn't say any other thing than that. I mean it by every sense of it. A lot of madness is happening in the Southeast. And beyond that, as a reaction to some of these things we see in the Southeast, we now have the Nigerian security agents. I have a video which I'm yet to verify, or we are yet to verify independently. But in an argument with someone who served in the army, he called my attention and said, "No, Mazi, that video, um, the Nigerian soldiers do not dress in that ragtag way." And I'm like, okay, if they don't dress in that ragtag way, how about the weapons they have? So the weapons are also fake. Honestly, I don't understand this. I don't understand that soldiers who were sent to protect lives and properties are the ones burning people's properties and destroying properties. And I do understand that this happened in Enugu State today. And this is the video that I am talking about here. So you can all see this video. Now, but what I don't understand is, um, if I'm looking at this soldier, the one shooting gun, is this a military wear, or I don't understand. Do we it's military camouflage now shown in a kaftan manner, or am I seeing double? What is it? Like nearly killed a colleague of his. What's actually happening here? Or is it just trying another So I have watched this video. To be honest with you, I couldn't make sense of this video. And I was told that this happened in Enugu. Let me quickly get the statement that came with this. You know, the whole thing just gets me really irritated. It says here that Nigerian soldiers invades Isi Ngwu, Mbowo, Ogu, local government area of Enugu State. That was today in the early hours of 5 p.m. this morning, burning innocent people's houses and taking, or rather, the villagers are now taking refuge in the bush. Now, I don't know if you're watching and you are from Isingu, Bo. If you're watching me and you are from this area, if you may wish to speak to me, please kindly get in touch with me. So I'm trying to see how to explore this because this is really, really heartbreaking to see those paid with, our collective taxes to protect lives and properties, doing stuff like this. It's really unprofessional, very, very unprofessional, very, and it's very disheartening, you know. And by the virtue of the houses you saw in that video, these are not even, these are not, these are like semi-thatched houses. These are, has every hallmark of poverty written around the environment and in the houses as well. And yet, someone just got in there, shot at random. What if someone was in those houses that they were just shooting? Granted that you might be, going after someone and he runs into the house. Would you, because someone runs into the house and now begin to destroy everything? And the worst part is that they even set it on fire. Then you ask yourself, what manner of barbarism is this? If this people, if this thing does, if it doesn't get you angry, it does to me. It gets to me as well emotionally, looking at, poor people's houses being destroyed in the name of whatever. I don't know. This has nothing, absolute nothing to do with professionalism. These men are not professional in any way, shape, or form. Honestly, it's really, really heartbreaking to watch. Now, if I move away from Enugu State and I ask you now watching me, remember when the southern governors met together to find solution to the killings happening in southern Nigeria? Remember this man who threatened the governors, saying that the Fulanese were not consulted and that the South must be careful. Do you remember this man?
Is that Gandhi said, whatever you do for me without me is against me. Ask all those, whatever, 13, 15 governors that met in that hotel. Was there any of the Fulani leaders consulted? Any of the Fulani leaders consulted? So they're there making laws for people that they have not consulted. This is a problem with government. Disconnected, out of touch with realities of people. You must sit down and talk with people you are making laws for. None of that. Those governors have sat down with Fulani leaders in wherever they are and tell them what we are planning to do, or what we're going to do, or what alternatives are there. And then they're sitting down there and making laws.
All right.
Be careful.
So, you remember this guy who was telling us to be careful? That we have spoken so much when we talked about, by whichever name that they go by, be them headsmen or terror headsmen, be them bandit, be them anything, that the South and we collectively didn't care by whichever nomenclature they go by. All the people we are requesting was to say, enough of this madness, irrespective of who was behind it. All the people we are saying is the madness must stop. You recall this video? I've used it a couple of times. Now, watch the same man now lamenting the way and manner you may never envisaged or imagined that he would do. The same person that told us, be careful, do this, do the other one. Now, Watch this, and I'll analyze this frame by frame.
Comes from.
Now, what he's saying here is he is from Castina. That means part of the reason why he made the previous, when he granted that Kakaki interview on AIT, is to tell you he is defending the president because he came from Castina, where the president came from. But in this program now, talking about how to tackle banditry in northern Nigeria, he has the following to say.
I'm from Castina, where the president comes.
He is from Castina, where the president comes
from. Before this government came, we did not know what IDPs look like.
You see? Speak truth. Only the truth shall set you free. This one now is not Mazes, okay? It's not a dotted person. It's not someone from the dot nation. It's not someone from the middle belt. It's not someone from the south. He, the same person that said that the southern governors had no right to meet and decide how to police their place without consulting, in his words, the Fulanese. The same person is now saying the same person is now is saying the same, saying this thing here. Let me play that again and have a listen.
I'm from Casina, where the president comes from. Before this government came, we did not know what IDPs look like.
Before this government came, meaning under Goodluck Jonathan, under President Yaradua, they in Castina did not know what IDP looked like. They had it good. Remember, this is the former Nigerian Health Insurance Scheme boss, right? He's supposed to be a civil servant, but he's more a politician than anything you can think of. He's now saying that they have so much IDP people in their place.
Now a third of my state, the president's state, is under siege by bandits.
You know what a third is? A third of a whole state is under siege in President Buhari's hometown. This is not in Benue. This is not in Borno. In President Buhari's hometown, and the same president does not care. So when you complain that the president appears to be deaf, understand that he is his own people where they buried his own placenta. He doesn't care. I'm not making up top. I'm not saying these things. This guy is saying it. Let me just keep quiet. Let me roll.
Our capital city is up with EP. We never saw that. The president doesn't call to commiserate with us, doesn't speak about banditry. Listen to him. Each time he talks about insecurity, he talks about Boko Haram.
Sorry, Oga. I know you're talking about life, but why I must try to say here, well, I told you. When we were complaining that the president is not speaking to anybody, is not speaking to Nigerians, you guys were the ones defending him that is his style. Okay? It is his own style that he does not speak to the people of Castina. You see, when you ought to speak up as human for every single person, I keep saying it on this platform, an injustice done to one is an injustice done to all. But when we begin to segment injustices and begin to own this rubbish, this is what you get. The president does not speak to you. So many people say, oh, maybe he's not too fluent in English. That's why he doesn't speak. Now he can also speak to you in Hausa, in Fora, or in anything, but he does not speak. So what are you going to do?
Banditry is more difficult and more lethal to this country than Boko Haram.
Oh, so you know that banditry is more lethal and more dangerous than Boko Haram. Yet, your colleague, the one you go into the bush to meet bandits with, if banditry is more dangerous than Boko Haram, why do you and your your German say kumpel, your colleague? Why do you, say you're not going to declare them terrorists? Why? Why then? That's the simple question I'm asking you, sir. Why do you fight this declaring them terrorists? But here you come online and you're still crying. You're crying. Oh, they are killing you, yet you cannot support government to declare them terrorists.
Tell you why. Boko Haram is located in one place, the northeast. Bandits are all over this country. I and Shegumi went and visited 6 states, deep into the forest, and met all the war commanders, exposing ourselves to risk because we knew it was wajib. It is our responsibility and our duty. We're not going to wait for any government that comes and lies on propaganda and says, oh, they have been decimated, they have been this, we are going to take the war to them, or kinetic, magnetic magic. All that nonsense we found out was nothing but nonsense.
Oh, God. I'm glad these words are coming from your mouth, not mine. Kinetic, magnetic nonsense. Those are your words. Suddenly, you're no longer playing the ethnic card. No, play on. No. In fact, Buhari must go for third term so that he completes his he's a messiah. He must go for third term.
Ladies and gentlemen, give me 1/100th of the military budget, and I will invest in people. Instead of investing in the military, invest in people. Governors do not invest in people.
It's selfless. That we shouldn't pay attention.
Now, here, this man made salient point, but Oga, it is too late. Hear this man now.
Invest in people.
It's selfless. That we shouldn't pay attention to religion. We shouldn't.
Oh, you shouldn't pay attention to religion. Really? Comrade Issa Tijani, you shouldn't pay attention to this same man before 2015 election was all over the place, blaring why it must be a Muslim, why it must be Buhari, blah, blah, blah. Oga, have you forgotten?
Pay attention to choosing leaders by ethnicity.
Oh, suddenly he's now telling us we must not choose leaders by ethnicity because probably the leadership must come to the south. Is that what you're now saying? We must not choose leaders because they from their ethnicity, correct? Now, tell us your opinion about Buhari then.
Because we have done so, we have failed woefully.
You have done so and you found out that you have failed woefully. Hey, so basically you are telling everybody that actually it was because of religion and ethnicity that was the reason why you elected President Muhammadu Buhari, and you are now admitting publicly that you have done so and you regret it. Oga, let me hear you again.
Leaders by ethnicity, because we have done so, we have failed woefully. We have that was what we used in electing Buhari, and we have seen the result today.
Buhari, if you want to get angry, look at Tijani, please, not me. Tijani is telling us the same man that campaigned with you, the same man that didn't let us hear word in 2015. He now saying that the yardstick and the parameters that they use in selecting you has failed and has failed abysmally. These are people, these are your people. So if they are your people, then we assume they cannot be accused of hate or being biased. I mean, they must be.
The government has failed thoroughly and totally.
Oh. The government has failed thoroughly and totally.
And nobody can come from Abuja or Lagos or even Washington
to do what? And tell us how to vote, isn't it? Wallahi. So if I go and ask my good friend Adamuni. I tell you, as a Muzoanam, in 2014, you voted. And after you voted, are you happy that you voted?
All right. Have you voted?
I'm voted, yeah.
Okay, so
I'm happy I'm voted, yeah.
tell me your feeling after voting today.
Yeah, after voting, I'm feeling okay. What I want, I get it on the result. I'm getting the party I want is the one going on. Thank you for that.
What are you expecting from these people you voted?
I'm voted, they can do what you want, and then when they want, what they want, inshallah, we'll happiness more.
Okay, so these were the arguments in 2014-15 that because they are voted and their happiness, they are voted. Now, 6 years down the line, I'm looking for him. I don't know whether he trekked to Abuja or to Castina. I'm looking for him to now bring him and say, Oga, tell me, are you still happiness more? So that let me see what he will tell me. But I think the way things are, he may not be happiness more. He might actually be.
Our economic is doing like this. It's doing like this. It's blinking, shaking.
So it might be, you know, lugu. But having said that, let me leave Buhari alone. Let me leave Castina alone. But summary is, in the words of Tijani, and in the words of bandit consultant, you know, what's his name again? The bandit consultant. I mean, I didn't. That's he said it. That's what he does. So if I call him a bandit consultant, then I'm being fair. Honestly, I think I'm obviously done the right thing by that's Professor Yusuf. So if I call Professor Yusuf a consultant for bandits, then I'm right. So Professor Yusuf and Tijani, obviously, is not coming from me to say that the government have failed your people. But again, now you're coming. You see level. The difference here. You called me dotted one. You called me 5%. Why? Because I said I wasn't going to support a disaster waiting to happen. You said I hated the North, and my argument was you're lying because I couldn't have hated the North if the same me voted for someone who is North in person of late Umaru Musa Yaradua, a man of peace, a man of immense love, a man of great intellect. But when another person from the same community came, from the same Daura, from the same Castina came, and people say, nah, this one, akwai bad market in it. We know for, and people took offense. 6 years down the line, in your own words, you are saying even more than the things we couldn't say. You are now saying the same thing more than we couldn't say. I want to hear your voice again.
I'm from Katsina, where the president comes from. Before this government came, we did not know what IDPs look like. Now a third of my state, the president's state, is under siege by bandits. Our capital city is filling up with IDPs. We never saw that. The president doesn't call to commiserate with us, doesn't speak about banditry. Listen to him. Each time he talks about insecurity, he talks about Boko Haram.
Are you surprised when former Kaduna senator, that is the Afro senator, once said that everybody demanding for the president to speak, he doesn't speak, but whenever he speaks, everybody's left confused. And many people are left paralyzed. So some now say it's better for him not to speak. I gotta stop demanding that he speaks to you, because the president speaks to you represent in the forest of Castina. He might speak to you in a language you understand. So you better keep quiet. You better keep quiet and happiness more. You better keep quiet because you voted. You voted for this. Better quiet and happiness more. Because even the president himself has a view If I ask him now, if I tell him now, Buhari, what do you think
The
about
government
Nigeria?
has failed to do its principal duty of protecting life or property of all beings inside its territory in Nigeria.
You heard it from the president. So if he's telling you that the government has failed in protecting lives and properties of human beings within the territory, and you're still there standing, grandstanding, and saying that he should speak to you, the same you that knocked the southern governors why they would come together and meet and speak about security without consulting you and your
Is that Gandhi said, whatever you do for me without me is against me. Ask all those, whatever, 13, 15 governors that met in that hotel. Was there any of the Fulani leaders consulted? Any of the Fulani leaders consulted?
Okay, sir, I salute. None of the Fulani leaders were consulted. We'll give it to you. Now go and consult your president. How about that? I beg you, make I move on. Now, the next thing is, you see, this nation, in fact, as we were talking for Pigeon, Nigeria and a cruise. You remember when Tinubu was in London, he had a knee surgery. Remember that the president went to London. Oh, wow, the president also went to see his own doctor. And he went to see him. A nation that budgets so much for next year budget will have already submitted 512 billion. I think our budget for next year is about 13.6 trillion or thereabout. Okay, so for a nation that budgets so much, well, basically that's about approximately 4%. So it's not entirely great. But when you look at it, yet they do not have standard hospital where Tinubu could probably have a surgery. Yet these are those that want to govern you and rule you, and they can. And none of the hospitals in Nigeria is fit for them. For the last 6 years, Buhari has never taken any medical, any medicals here. He goes to London. I mean, obviously, London is better than here. People can always die. I mean, it doesn't matter. He jets out to the point that the wife in the other room is also complaining. Oh, what is it? We spend so much here. We don't even have paracetamol. We don't even have cotton wool for where they spend billions in the Rock clinic. Now, Tinubu comes back, goes to visit Buhari, goes into Aso Rock, and says the following. Be the judge.
Noted that the president demonstrated empathy like a true and exceptional leader would. I do remember the national leader who returned to the country from his medical vacation on October 9th had also visited the vice president on Friday, as State House correspondent Gloria Omezuke reports.
Since his return to the country after a medical vacation, national leader of the All Progressives Congress meets with the president at his residence. In an interview after the closed-door meeting, he stated that the visit is not political. The president demonstrated empathy like a true and exceptional leader would.
Only to thank, first of all, the president for his visit to my residence in London when I was, after the surgery. And
Okay, calm down. Okay. Sorry, I can't help but laugh. So, if you go to the hospital, and I come to the hospital to visit you, when they discharge you, you owe me a visit. Check. Only in Nigeria. Only in Nigeria.
Wishing me well, lifting my spirits, and did what an exceptional leader would do to a collaboration. That's all. That's what I came for. I'm welcoming him back from the trip from Saudi.
It would be recalled that the national leader who returned to the country from his medical vacation on October 9 also paid the vice president a visit on Friday.
Our leaders must learn when not to speak to the press. It is an insult to the sensibilities of over 200 million Nigerians that both of you disgracefully, underline that word, disgracefully, you could not build after 8 years of your reign in Lagos State any hospital that is befitting for you to use in Nigeria, yet you want to be a Nigerian president. Neither is Buhari, who has been in power for the past 8 years, able to build a single functional hospital for him to use. His wife goes to Dubai for her own medical treatment. He jets off to London for his own medical treatment. You come back to Nigeria, you visit each other to thank each other for visiting you, and you bring press, bring press, and they will talk about it. Ahmadiyya doesn't work, because if it does, he should have found a good job to do. The job full everywhere, yet he couldn't do anything rubbish. Let me. Somebody said I should drink water. Please, let me. It's not. I won't even drink water, self. I will drink something better than water. Something that will happiness me more. Oh dear. See, the challenge here is I can't kill myself for Nigeria, but the issue here is that these things are wrong. And these so-called leaders do not see anything wrong in this nonsense that they do. They don't. Honestly, they don't. They actually do it. What you and I go do? What can we do? Eh? Like I told you guys, those that call on Ahmadiyya and Shongo, they have gone to bed. They don't sleep, because if they do their work, by now they should be doing press up, getting ready to go and do their work. Whichever work, I don't know. DSS, I didn't send Ahmadiyya. So, not me. My mind is just telling me something silly. But never mind. So, we'll move to River State. You are aware, Chief Justice Orderly, there is a game that is going on in Nigeria that, every deep thinker should know that something is cooking. Suddenly, Orderly, the wife to Orderly, who is a High Court judge, and Pete Orderly was the former governor of River State. And suddenly, there is another siege at her house. They said they wanted to come and search her house, that they have a warrant. But now, DSS has denied, EFCC has denied, all the agencies are denying it. In the morning, I had the interview with Bauer with that is the EFCC chairman, and I think was speaking to channels. They're all denying that they never gone to this woman's house. Then you ask yourself, is Nigeria a rogue nation that people can actually lay siege? There were cameras, captured their faces, yet they denied it. Yet, neither EFCC, DSS, and all these guys, none of them have actually said, we're going to look into it, we could recognize this person, or who is actually this person. And that's it. I can bet you ₦1 now that there is nothing. This, for me, that is finished. That's Nigeria for you. A crime scene that nothing, absolute nothing will happen. But again, Wike, Yeson Wike, in the River State governor, in his vivacious manner, had the following to say.
If anything happens to my Lord, Justice Mary, the husband and his children, the federal government should be held
responsible. And that is the position of the Rivers State government and Rivers people.
So if anything happens to him, if anything happens to her, that the federal government should be held accountable. Who are you going to hold account? Everyone has denied it. Everyone has denied it. I don't know. Sometimes I no longer know. I don't know what to think and say about Nigeria. I don't know. It's just tiring. But having said that, there is a sad news, apart from what happened in Enugu. In Ikoyi, Lagos, today, a building collapsed. Sadly, as it appears that lives were lost. I will show us, but I won't show the graphic videos, but quickly, let me show us some videos here. And we will pray for the souls of those lost in that mishap in Lagos. May their souls rest in peace. Also, having said that, I can also bet you that nothing would come out of it. Why? You remember there was a time this building collapsed in Lagos, and at Ikotu also, that's TB Joshua. And today, has anyone been punished for that collapse? No. Why? Because we're in Nigeria. Now, if nobody was punished in that, do we think for 1 second that anybody will be punished in this one? And I'll say, may the souls of those, once more, may the souls of those brothers and sisters who sadly found themselves in that place and eventually lost their lives, may their souls. Now, look at this. This is part of it. You can see when the building collapsed, this is where the dog. Just like 9/11.
Shit!
You can see the building at the back. This is a high rise.
Right. Are you one of the contractors?
See, I think one of these Lebanese.
Okay, what about this one?
This one, somebody, when they come, they go
everybody
with.
They are all inside. They have removed somebody. Okay, he just came out.
Everybody inside this building, as you can see, this wreck. As of this evening, apart from what the people were able to, use in pulling these things up, some people up, there is still a lot of, nobody can tell how many people that are trapped in this place. Nobody can tell how many people that were trapped in this place.
60 degrees. Very nice. Ikoyi. I have to buy a place here sooner or later.
So this is the place in question.
This is the place to be.
He said he wants the first floor, but we'll give you second
place to be. 360 degrees yet again.
Yeah.
Yeah, 360 degrees. I'm with my sister, Mrs. Momodu. I'm with my friend from Italy,
Omar.
And
that's Fomenti himself, the great Fomenti.
That's Fomenti.
That's our architect.
That's the architect, Fomenti architect.
Furnishing company in Italy. And that's their architect. They are the best.
Some of these cameramen, they need to be fed akamo. The way some people when they were small, when they don't want to eat, the way my good friend from Osun State will feed them a camel. Just turn the cameraman upside down. So that's the way they make our head turn. Now, this is obviously part of the videos that were basically showing, that place until everything flattened and you can see this. If someone was still in the other side looking at that, so everyone blaring their horn. So, in order to respect those who lost their lives and those injured, there are some videos that, those are graphic videos, sadly and disappointedly. I wouldn't be playing those graphic videos. I would only let us, see the extent of damage done. Again, I just hope that, people will be rescued more. People are being rescued now. Obviously, people are being rescued, but the rescue that is happening is, how do I put it? It's our normal Nigerian way. It's individual living. It's not, maybe Nama or Nama or whatever they call them might eventually come up to help. Let me quickly hold on. So let me quickly see if I can show us the building. Let me see if I can show us the building. There is another short clip, but I think someone in this clip someone was able to come out alive. But obviously, it's I don't know. Sometimes I just struggle to find the right word to, because these things keep happening, and I bet you it will happen again. Bet you, and no one will still be punished. I bet you that people will probably pay some, something, and everyone goes free. Because if you remember, when this similar thing happened in Ikotwe, when the dormitory or the guest house being used by TB Joshua, then he was saying that it was plane was going blah blah blah, and the whole place fell down. So here you can see, so this person has been recovered from the wreck. So let me see. If you look at there at the back, you see the wreck there. And this person was recovered. And now look at how just, I don't even know. I won't even blame the person, because imagine if this individual has got anything like spinal cord injury. By the virtue of the way you're dragging that individual, you're making the whole thing work.
I don't know.
They just brought him out. They just brought him out. Where are they bringing them out from the back? That person is still under.
Some people just came out.
I just pray that, I don't know. Some people are still coming out. Some people are just finding their way out. What's the essence of having a government? What's the essence of having a government? Yet this is the Lagos that works, but no rescue in sight. Probably eventually they came, but I don't know. It's just sometimes I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyway, to summarize this, we have the Anambra election coming up. There was a debate, the first physical debate organized by Arise TV, and it was between three people. That is three parties: APC, PDP, and APGA. Now, I will say the following, then I will allow us watch I'll close by allowing us watch the whole debate. But I found this interesting here.
What is happening in your
Okay, let me go away from here. So for you to be listen to him again. This is the PDP APC
For
guy.
you to be a leader, you must know what is happening in your environment. He's telling me he met me in the villa. How can you meet me? He met me in the villa. I wake up with the president, I sleep with the president. Say I'm a domestic staff for the president. I'm a domestic that clean the president's shoe. That clean the president's shoe. That's what you said. My brother, you brought my, when the CBN go, what do? You came to my house to say thank you. Igwe abdicated. There are five Igwes came to say thank you to the president for making him Central. He said, no, you thank this person, not me. Because he's still alive. So I came from the US without a certificate to come and work. To show the type of person you are.
President Obasanjo is alive.
Yeah.
Please, the APC candidate has the floor. Professor Soludo, allow him.
So now, obviously, you've heard Professor Soludo in this debate accuse the APC candidate of forging a certificate. Forging a certificate. This is no joke. He accused him of forging a certificate. And I felt like the defense actually wasn't robust enough. Because I've, I don't know. But you know what I'm going to do? To allow us, for those of you who may be interested in this, it's about 40 minutes long. Allow us watch the whole interview. Enjoy it.
I'm running for the office of governor of Anambra State. I ran this office.
Now, this is when they were asked to make an opening statement for 3 minutes. You would have thought that this 3 minutes will be utilized in a manner that will be very, that will be interesting. But be the judge.
I was in this same position 2007 and won. I was sworn in as the governor of Anambra State, and I started performing my job when I was removed by Supreme Court, when they said that Peter has not finished his tenure. And after reflecting on what happened, I decided to go back to run for Senate, and I won Senate twice. I was in the Senate for 8 years twice, and that's what has happened. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that, the candidate of the APC, Anambra. Let me bring in Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, or the candidate of APGA. You have 3 minutes to make your... 4, okay, 4. All right. Because I thought Dr. Ruben actually gave you 3 minutes, but that's fine. I'll give you 4 minutes for your opening remarks, but it has to be equal time that we give to all of you. Thank you very much.
May the souls of the policemen and all the people who have been killed, Akonyele and all others, rest in peace. Let me start by saying my name is Charles Chukwuma Soludo. And to put the context that the world has changed. It's changing dramatically. The world is into the 4th industrial revolution. And Nigeria is going through a transition to a non-oil economy. The challenges are huge nationally and for the sub-nationals. And that Anambra State, among the 36 states, must be looking for a transformational leader in these uncertain times. I want to suggest, dear friends, that given my knowledge, experience, networks, exceptional public service, and even exceptional private sector experience, that I offer myself as that candidate for the people of Anambra at this material point in time. I am a passionate village boy from in Agwata local government, and a distinction grade in my secondary school. Of course, I didn't forge my secondary school certificate. With a first-class honors, a BSc, economics, master's and PhD, I am one who has had abundant grace and blessings of the Almighty all my life. In my 30s, I accomplished virtually everything there was to accomplish professionally, and I would say in every ramification. Became a professor in my 30s, traveled all over the world, lived in Ethiopia, UK, Europe, and America, consulted for over 20 international financial and development institutions, and traveled to over 45 other countries around the continent of the world. And now came back to serve Nigeria. I have served 3 presidents in the public sector. And I dare to say I have been a founder and co-founder of some of the major corporations international that are of international standing, including the Transnational Corporation of Nigeria. And in public service, I've served 3 presidents of Nigeria. President Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, and now currently the current president. And a grateful nation has honored me with the 3rd highest national honor in recognition of my distinguished public service. This is the time now for me, and of course in the world, I have been 3-time winner of the best governor of central bank in the world. And therefore for me, based on my global experience, my national experience and knowledge, I believe it is now time for me to come home. And as chairman of Anambra Vision 2070, and we've just finished a draft, we're about to present that any minute from now once we get a go-ahead. I think I have been able to think through the challenges of Anambra, going through the entire space, almost all the villages and community of this blessed homeland. It is now time for me to devote the rest of my life to giving back in full to the people of Anambra. We want a livable and prosperous homeland, especially for an itinerant people, a people scattered all over the world, but they now want a proud homeland. And I want to consolidate on the existing, what has been achieved by 4 years, to give Anambra a livable and prosperous, smart megacity that every Anambra person will be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Soludo. Now it's your turn. Mr. Valentine Uzibo, candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. You have 4 minutes.
Thank you very much. I am deeply, deeply grateful for the privilege of being given the opportunity to serve, to debate on Anambra governorship aspiration. You know, for me, it is heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, thinking about my dear state in the way it's being characterized. We've just observed a minute's silence for those who have died. But what are we doing to stop our future? How do we take responsibility? Who is orchestrating this? Who need leadership? At the state level, we have ABGA. At the national level, we have APC. To what extent have they done enough to curb this? It's not enough to observe a minute silence. We need to do more. I am here privileged to be part of this because indeed I believe what Anambra requires today is a young, vibrant CEO who has got experience, both global, national, and sub-regional, to be able to fix what is wrong with Anambra, who understands where the world is headed. We're moving to a digitalized world. We need people who are trendy, who are modern, who are classy. I can tell you, by God's grace, I am privileged to be the best among who I've seen here. Who is Valentine Uzibo? I'm a child of grace who has done exceptionally well from school days up to university and up to corporate life and philanthropy and also in the religious world. I am somebody who is passionate about whatever I do. You require a transformation leader who has created jobs, who has worked in corporations, who has served proper true governance, who has brought to bear the experiences that we require, both in agriculture, in power, in oil and gas, in hospitality, in banking. I've grown businesses in different parts of the world, in Africa and beyond. By the grace of God, what is required, I have. And what more I would need, I know how to get the right team, synergize, empower the team, and together we forge ahead to see how Anambra can catch up with the rest of the world. I'm passionate about solving our basic problems of road infrastructure, of insecurity, and doing the needful to ensure that Anambra people can be proud of the state once more. Right now we're angry. as Anambra people, and we should hold responsible those who have taken us to this doldrum. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for that introduction. The first question then, of course, goes to Dr. Ruben. You have the first salvo. Of course, I guess the debate begins in earnest, gentlemen. Doctor?
Well, I'll come back to you, Valentine Ozigbo of the People's Democratic Party, and then we go in the other direction. And it's about security. The fear of violence is the big concern in this election. And the police, the Committee on Election Security, and other groups have said, well, enough efforts, enough arrangements have been made to ensure that the process goes itch-free. You satisfied with the arrangements that have been made, the promises that have been made? The other two candidates will also have the opportunity to respond to the same question. But we'll start with you, Ozigbo of PDP.
Thank you very much. Indeed, about the preparation for this election, I am satisfied to the extent that enough personnel has been deployed. But I'm not satisfied that we've allowed things to get this far before taking an action. A single soul is so crucial. There's nothing we do that's worth the loss of a life. And every day, we have occurrences. As of yesterday, we still have witnessed some. So, quite frankly, here I am urging my followers, Anambra people, to come out in March, because that's the only way we can end bad leadership. The only way we can solve a problem is we come out to vote. Not to do nothing cannot be answered. We can't yield to the intimidation and fear. And we also must ask, where are these coming from? How come we don't have any intelligence anymore? How come we are not able to identify who is responsible for this? How come we're not bringing people to book? How come everybody's getting scot-free? I honestly feel that there's a lot we need to do, both now in the preparation and going forward in solving Anambra problem security-wise. Thank you.
Okay, I have to let you gentlemen know that you have 3 minutes to make your intervention. So you don't want to, shorten your time. Let me come to Professor Charles Soludo, the candidate of ABGA. Security, like Dr. Ben noted, is the major concern, not just for the people of Anambra, but for the rest of the country. Yes, and my question is, what exactly do you think is at the root of the sudden turn of events as far as security is concerned in Anambra State? Because, I mean, the light of the nation has always been known to be, to a large extent, a peaceful state. If you can diagnose exactly what the root cause is, can you tell us exactly what would be the low-hanging fruits if you become governor in tackling security against the wider, picture in the country?
Thank you very much, and thank you for that acknowledgement that Anambra has, up until the last few months, remained about the safest state in Nigeria. And the governor has been decorated with awards and so on about being the safest state in Nigeria, and thank you very much. The insecurity in Anambra is a recent phenomenon, very recent. And I think my brother on the right-hand side, I'm sure when he responds, he might be able to tell a little more about part of the reasons why that is happening. But Anambra has remained largely a safe haven. Businesses booming, real estate booming, hospitality industries, and so on and so forth. And recently, it is a challenge, and the governor, as the chief security officer, has risen up to the challenge. And by the way, you know that all the security agencies happen to be within the purview of the federal government. But we've got an architecture, a security architecture, in which the federal forces have been working in tandem, in collaboration with the local. We passed the Anambra Vigilante Act, in which you also have the local collaborating with them. And in terms of how we go forward, I see 3 buckets. The first bucket is really the formal the local security architecture. The intelligence gathering, the equipment, the military, the police, the DSS, and so on and so forth, and then the local vigilante and what that has to happen. And they're all fully under. The next bucket is a dialogue and harmony. A dialogue and reaching some harmonious agreement with the non-state actors. The non-state actors. I mean, we'll elaborate when we probably come around to your second round of questions. And then, of course, the third bucket in dealing with it is what we have encapsulated in our manifesto. Prosperity, jobs, and opportunities for our youths. I can take turn, since you have just 2-3 minutes to talk on this, but I want to say that part of the recent upsurge in insecurity in Anambra is politically motivated. There are some people who think that they gain political advantage by creating a sense of fear and insecurity so that you have voter suppression. That is what we are gathering. When Valentine talked about intelligence gathering, that intelligence is everywhere. And I want to say that probably after the election, I'm satisfied that they are deploying about 34,000 policemen and with all the soldiers, and hopefully once we... Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
You already did more than 3 minutes. Very quickly, we'll come to you, candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Senator Andy Uba. Well, do you really agree, that there's nothing to fear about safety or violence, but with particular regard to voter turnout and voter apathy, because some people have seen a study indicating that voter apathy may also be a problem, and about 17% of the persons involved in that survey were citing the fact that some groups in the state have threatened that they may not allow the election to go on, or that they will shut down the state. Do you have any anxieties in that regard?
No, voter apathy has always been the norm in Anambra State. The turnout has been very low. Let me tell you something. The governor, the importance of in every state, the governor is the security officer of the state. Let me tell you, in this case,
people, sorry, I need to interrupt this. You've been watching this for a while now. What's your take? Tell me at the comment section. Now, the reason why I kept this for so long now is you've watched the intro. You've watched the three candidates say something. I see someone like Babajide here saying that Professor Soludo should be running for the presidency. And also, obviously, some of you saying that someone here who is a calamity. I don't know what you mean, but it's actually at some point, those of you who understand what I mean, those of you who've probably studied in Nigeria, at some point it feels like someone is trying to give a lecture, and at some point, it feels like someone doesn't actually know the reason why they came. I don't know if I'm making sense, but tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. No matter what, listen, no matter what you think, on Saturday, there will be an election. There will be a candidate that will emerge. If you don't want to come out to vote, stay home. If you don't want to see your ancestors so early, stay home. Allow those who believe that they will vote to come out and vote while you stay at home and protest that you don't want to vote. No one is going to come to your house and force you. But do not, under any circumstances, come out and obstruct others from voting. That is infringing on their fundamental human right. That which you demand from others to respect you and give to you, you must and should be ready to give it to others as well. I like this debate because you will see towards the end, is almost half now, you see in the next 10 minutes or thereabout, which would actually open the underbelly of the crocodile. The underbelly of the crocodile. Again, whatever happens is, and when I read some of the comments Onyenimo says Soludo is playing with them. At some point, there is this funny video, little tigers with a monkey. So the monkey was jumping from tree to tree, and he pulls the tigers by their ears. At some point, I felt Soludo is a naughty professor because he was looking for trouble everywhere. He pulls this person's ear. The person looks the other way. He pulls the other person's ear. I felt at some point that was what he was doing. He was indeed a naughty professor in this. But again, one thing, when many of you ask, what have somebody done? If you haven't been in an executive position before, it will be unfair to say, someone like Val, it will be unfair to say, what has he done? Done as what? With his money or what? If it's someone like Soludo, who managed monetary policy and CBN and all the rest, you say, what has he done in his state? He has managed a state. What you can ask him is, when he was CBN governor, what was his performance? When Val was the CEO of Transcorp, what was his performance? From the smell of the fat, you can have an idea how the shit would taste. Now you can now go and say, if this person is a senator, when he was in the Senate, what has he done? Where are the constituency projects? Where are the bills? And these are how we need to, these are things, and these personally, because we need to have it a very level playing field. What I do not subscribe to is when people begin to, act in certain way, the manner of speech we do. Oh, yeah, what have you done? As a private citizen, for Christ's sake, I mustn't do anything apart from paying my fundamental tithes. It's a new month. My fundamental tax. You see, maybe because now to collect tithe, they hungry me. Maybe that's why I'm misplacing tithe with tax. And oh, sorry, while we are discussing here, somebody said that the owner of the building in Lagos died in the rubbles. Jeez. If true, may his soul rest in peace. If true, may his soul rest in peace. This is unbelievable. I hope we can do better. So people haven't said the following. So let's, enjoy the party, because this party, I am happiness more.
The governor have not done what he's supposed to do. Now, Soludo said something, pointed at me. I don't know why he said that, but he has to explain that too. Because if you look at what is happening now, it's because the governor has refused to engage. When you engage, like in 2007, when I was going to run for governorship of Anambra State, I engaged the people that were involved, the Massaf group. I went to visit the Wazirika prison, talked to him about it. When they said shoot aside and there won't be any election in Anambra State, I went and talked to the people. I said, look, because of job, I said, let's sit down and see how we can handle this. At the end, we got this ironed out. And there was an election without violence. The governor refused to engage in that. You talk to them, bring them together, and see what their problems are. The problems are employment. There's no employment, and that's why the violence is getting what it is. So he's saying, I don't know what he wants me to explain about the violence, because I'm not a violent person. My party is not a violent party. We're not being violent in any form. So I don't know where that is coming from. He has to explain that to the public, why he's made the statement he made. But let me tell you something. Once we finish this election, which I know definitely that APs we are going to win, we'll see what will happen. We'll take care of this problem that we have in security. Look at the day that they called the security summit in Enugu. The government was campaigning with him the day of the security summit. Why would you do that? You were supposed to go and discuss security in your state. You went to campaign instead of going to discuss security issues in Enugu, where other governors were. He was accusing other governors of not or not cooperating with him? How can you go there and accuse them rather than now saying that you didn't go there and campaigning? Campaign is not the issue. Issue is security. Once you have security, we'll have investment in the country, in the state.
All right. I will give you the opportunity, Prof, to do your rebuttal, but we have to, take it to Valentine Ozigbo so that he can address the issue of how he will.
But hold on here. Many people have actually also condemned Professor Soludo for raising his hands, and they said, does Soludo think he was in a primary school or in a secondary school to be raising his hand? Does he want to steal other people's minutes? Again, I think some could consider that a sign of civility, not trying to interject, though at some point he did interject because he threw some jab. In fact, actually, he started pulling ears. The moment the whistle was blown, he started pulling ears. And that at some point I said, never knew this man can be this naughty. But I mean, it was a very interesting debate. Let's go on.
Security in, if it becomes governor, what would be your approach, Mr. Valentine Ozigbo, to ensuring that Anambra feels safe and secure, their businesses, their persons, if you become governor, against the bigger picture, the prevailing situation in the country?
Thank you so very much. I'm not sure my mic is actually working well. Is it?
Okay.
It's not.
All right, please help us ensure that the mics are okay. Okay, it's on.
Okay. So
please project a little more.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Yes.
So basically, the single most critical need for Anambra is providing safety, security in Anambra, because nothing else can function well. And please, let's shift away from, casting blames to accepting responsibility. The reality is that both APGA and APC have failed Nigerians. This is general. And I was shocked when my big brother Soludo was talking about how it was glowing economy in Anambra before election. Nothing has worked in recent times. But about security, there's a lot we can do. There's indeed a lot we can do. Just even go back to where P2B left it. Providing money monthly to these vigilantes, paying them, providing vehicles, and making sure they're well empowered. There's no community that doesn't know they're criminal around them. Just get things well around there. That's number one. That's quick, fix we can do. And then we'll move on from there to other things we can do on the side. We also are aware that when you have a thriving economy, when people are gainfully employed, when people are busy, they will not transcend into criminality. So we need to also identify that part. And then if there are agitations, people are clamoring for positive change, especially trying to move away from the problems that the elder generation have created. Of course, if they are the one that have created it, they can't be the one to solve it. So we need to go back to the younger ones, and this is why, indeed, I do stand advantage. When we engage these people, they will listen to us more because they feel I was part of NSAS, for instance, and because I know exactly where it pinches. And it's important that we deal with this and manage those agitations and solve sustainability. And then before we move on to creating better architecture, how can we move on to state policing where we can, I want to get to a point, I want to brag that Anambra police is better than Enugu police and something like that. So how do we begin to change these things over time? And this is why it's also important to look at the platform one is representing. Today, PDP has got the only chance of redeeming Nigeria from where it is. And this is why, this is not just about Anambra election, but in the future elections to come. We need to change Nigeria for good. Thank you.
Valentine Ozigbo. So, Professor Soludo, yes, apart from clarifying the point raised by the candidate of the APC, what in specific terms will you also do if you were to become Chief Security Officer of Anambra State?
Thank you very much, Ruben. And so I have 4 minutes, 1 minute to rebuttal. And on both of them, let's put it on record. First of all, you say you engage. You only engage when you want to run for an election. And after an election, you go on voicemail. You never engaged, never spoke to anybody. This is the one, and I will talk about it, who has engaged in and out of season. You were in Senate for 8 years, not one word about the IPOB and the agitations in the Southeast. You were only engaging when you want to run. Insecurity in Anambra started with a PDP government and orchestrated by my brother on my right hand, kidnapping a sitting governor. It was a PDP legacy in Anambra. The PDP legacy in Anambra of burning down Anambra State. The violence, kidnapping, and so on and so forth on this state was started by PDP. When my brother on the right-hand side was at the engine room stoking up all the fires. So we know that. That's fact, number one. Two, is that I'm surprised, Valentine, that you wouldn't have the basic numbers coming onto this debate. And you're saying, oh, things are in the economy. Let me tell you, for the records, Anambra State has the lowest unemployment of any state in Nigeria at 13%. National Bureau of Statistics, not Anambra State numbers.
Fact.
Anambra State has poverty rate declined from 53% under P2B to 14.78 as at last year. National Bureau of Statistics.
Lecture.
Not our own number.
You know, at some point, having watched at this point, I thought to myself, these guys here may be thinking to themselves, does this professor think he's teaching microeconomics or what? Why is he just railing statistics, you know? And some of you are saying this guy shouldn't. Then Z says that his demo is very, arrogant-like. But again, some are basically feeling just give them lectures, just give them lectures. But watch the response, because at the same time, you see that, I think the debate at some point, I felt it was so intellectually anchored at certain level that maybe one person probably wasn't following entirely. Just pay attention.
Anambra State has the lowest underemployment rate at 17% of any state in Nigeria. National Bureau of Statistics. So when you want to say, and then, sir, Val, it is Governor Willie Obiano's government that passed the Anambra Vigilante Act. No, wait. That's just been done with the governor, with the traditional rulers as the chief security officers.
All right, you've had your time,
so,
Prof.
Now, so what I'm trying to say is
your time is up, Prof. Sorry. Yes, let me take it to the candidate of the APC. Yes, yeah, you have the opportunity to have that rebuttal. But let me hold on, please. Let me land on my point. The PDP candidates just said that the APC and ABGA political parties have let down Anambra State as far as security is concerned. I know, gentlemen, Prof, I know you're passionate about economics and finance, but we'll get to that. What we want to deal with in this segment is security and how you will tackle the issue of security if you become governor. Please, I need you to bear that in mind so that we don't, go all over the place. Thank you so much. And so, Andrew, I'd like you to, respond to that. What would be your approach? Do you support the idea of using vigilantes, like the PDP candidate has said, if I got him correctly? Do you agree with the dialogue, as the ABGA candidate has opined? What would be your strategy in tackling insecurity in Anambra?
Remember I talked about dialogue, Richard, when I started about dialogue. I believe in dialogue, and I believe in the vigilante group. Number two, we set up a response team. Can I answer what he said about
2 minutes.
Okay, about kidnapping and whatever he said. I wasn't involved. I don't know what he's talking about, kidnapping. I had no business in that kidnapping.
Come on.
Now, there's a white paper that came out on there's a white paper on the kidnapping. Why didn't they put my name in the kidnapping? It has anything to do with it. What are you talking about? Let me tell you, I was a special assistant to the president of Nigeria in this country that knows about security. That since man knows about security, I know about security. Now, let me tell you, he's talking about saying that I'm involved. I'm not involved in anything that concerns kidnapping or anything. It's not I wasn't even in the country when it happened. I was outside the country. When the call came through to me, 2:45 in the morning, I picked the phone, said but the judge said he wants to speak to the president. I said, what happened? He told me what happened. I took the phone to the president, and took the phone. The president asked me to call the IG of police and call Atiku, which I did. And the whole thing that's why the whole thing was stopped. So how could I have been involved? If I was involved, I wouldn't have made that phone call.
Okay,
so now,
thank you.
Yes.
Okay, you still have some 30 seconds.
Okay, I said I'll set up a response team in the state, whereby when something happens, there'll be a number that will dial that will come to the rescue, and people immediately there's an incident. I sponsored the bill in the Senate of the bill I sponsored was the prison reform bill, which I sponsored in the Senate. That was signed by the president into law. That's why it's a prison correctional institution in the Senate. You're saying I've been 8 years in Senate not doing anything. What did you do? I made sure you are the central bank governor. What have you done?
Sorry, I need to pause this video. I see a couple of comments coming from the comment section. Some of you are there arguing that the facts quoted by Professor Soludo are incorrect. No, that's not true, because Premium Times actually did a fact check of what Professor Soludo said, and they found out that what Professor Soludo said checked out. Remember, there comes a point that he argued actually with Ruben Abati and some of these facts. However, Ruben Abati did not give his own source. Again, people, when it comes to something like this, it's not about emotion, it's about facts. And who has the fact? Because you can see that here, I'm just sharing my screen. Because my analysis, we're not going to just reproduce what has been done. We need to add value to it. And this value to it is to also fact check this as claimed. Now, these are the fact checked. Claim number 3, top down. Soludo claimed the vigilante formation. Yes, Ngige actually had a under Ngige, there was what was given a private group bill, whatever, to that gave private groups the right to form their own security outfit, which was inadvertently done to back up the formation of Bakassi then, right? But the proper structure, as in passing it through the state assemblies, as you can see here, is clearly that Soludo is right, because you can see that here, that is the claim. So, Professor Charles Soludo said the Vigilante Act was not enacted during Obiono's government verdict. True. So when you come here on that point, when he talked about the Office of the National Statistics, you can see that 13% that he quoted, and when they, Ruben Abati was talking about 44%, and when they fact-checked it, verification, if we go on the Office of National Statistics, you see that is Q2 2020 shows Anambra unemployment rate is at 13.1. So what's the difference between 13.1 and 13 point? Is the same, even if it's 13.5, even if it's 13.9, it's the same thing. Okay, so when you go through, read through all these things, you find out that immediately Professor Soludo's claims were fact-checked, and they were found to be correct. So when I'm just bringing that up for some of us that argue in the comment section to understand what is actually at play here. So let's go back and finish this debate.
Governor, what have you done so far? You haven't done anything. You haven't done anything about it. You came they brought you to me, and I made sure.
Brought you.
My brother brought you.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, audience, please. We need.
How can you say what we know?
Sorry, we need to point out at this here right now.
Suddenly,
No clapping, no
bear
jeering,
with
no
me, I think
cheering,
something
please.
is,
Please,
obviously-
absolute silence in the hall so that we can appreciate what the candidates are saying. Thank you very much.
I will show you here without Konano.
I never forged. I never forged a certificate.
Hello,
You didn't. Go talk
gentlemen.
to
Do you have secondary school?
Of course.
Hello,
Where?
gentlemen.
Where's the school?
When?
Come on.
When did
So what is happening? Is it because we are talking about statistics? We're talking about statistics, and suddenly everything has statistically gone out. You know, don't worry. We are almost done with the debate analysis before we call call the verdict of.
think
Sorry, no, sorry. This is wrong one now. Yeah, you know what I'm gonna do. If I don't know if you want to watch the remaining about 15 minutes part of that video, or we just do the summary and leave it at that. But let me bring back, because obviously the system threw me out, and I need to now go back and bring back the debate so that we can. Let me bring back the debate.
To gain access.
No, that's not what I am looking for, because this is actually the end here, where, and I like the way actually Andy responded to this. I think the debate was matured. They all debated very well, and probably gave the people of Anambra the chance to see various views, and to evaluate the candidate. But I think I'll allow you guys, I'll allow the viewers to make their choice. It will be one of those rare times that I don't have a view. I can only analyze these things. I can say who won or who didn't win. Okay, so quickly, let's get back to this analysis again. Sorry for that brief
deal with this and manage those agitations and solve sustainability. And then before we move on to creating better architecture, how can we move on to state policing, where we can? I want to get to a point. I want to brag that Anambra police is better than Enugu police and something like that. So how do we begin to change these things over time? And this is why it's also important to look at the platform one is representing today. PDP has got the only chance of redeeming Nigeria from where.
Sorry, while I need to pause this here and I make this announcement, while you're watching me, we are going to post a poll now. While you're watching, in the next 1 minute, you'll see a poll appear on YouTube. If you're watching me on YouTube, there is going to be a poll that will be posted now. Who you going to vote among these three candidates? I want you to do this on YouTube. Then on Facebook, we might have to do the same on Facebook, but Facebook is going to be only on Njenje Media, not on this particular stream. But on YouTube, you can do this on the particular stream. So let's get voting. Again, for those of you who want to boycott the vote, you can also, there is no option here of boycott. So you can only select 3 from the 3 options that we'll have. So let's go ahead.
And this is why this is not just about Anambra election, but in the future elections to come. We need to change Nigeria for good. Thank you.
Valentine Uzibo. So, Professor Soludo, yes, apart from clarifying the point raised by the candidate of the APC, what in specific terms will you also do if you were to become Chief Security Officer of Anambra State?
Thank you very much, Ruben. And so I have 4 minutes, 1 minute to rebuttal, and on both of them. Let's put it on record. First of all, you say you engage. You only engage when you want to run for an election. And after an election, you go on voicemail. Never engaged. Never spoke to anybody. This is the one, and I will talk about it, who has engaged in and out of season. You were in Senate for 8 years, not one word about the IPOB and the agitations in the Southeast. You were only engaging when you want to run. Insecurity in Anambra started with a PDP government and orchestrated by my brother on my right hand, kidnapping a sitting governor. It was a PDP legacy in Anambra. The PDP legacy in Anambra of burning down Anambra State.
But in fairness here, I think Professor Soludo is not fair here, because it wasn't why did I call him doctor? Jeez, sorry. It wasn't Andiuba who kidnapped Ngige. It was his younger brother and his gang, because Ngige was not paying at that point. Okay, and bear in mind at that material point in time that this happened, Andiuba and the younger brother, Chris Ngige, were at war with one another. Well, as you all saw when Andiuba refuted that Bode George called him, and he woke up the president, and the president gave order. But that's to show you the type of banana republic we run, because it didn't start under Buhari. They came to kidnap a sitting governor, a man who has absolute nothing to do with governance, came to kidnap him. He had to ring a president that is outside the country to give order back to his country for something to happen. That shows you that the chain of command is broken, and broken into pieces.
Said that the APC and ABGA political parties have let down Anambra State as far as security is concerned. I know, gentlemen, Prof, I know you're passionate about economics and finance, but we'll get to that. What we want to deal with in this segment is security, and how you will tackle the issue of security if you become governor. Please, I need you to bear that in mind so that we don't, go all over the place. Thank you so much. And so, Andiuba, I'd like you to, respond to that. What would be your approach? Do you support the idea of using vigilantes, like the PDP candidate has said, if I got him correctly? Do you agree with the dialogue, as the ABGA candidate has opined? What would be your strategy in tackling insecurity in Anambra?
Remember I talked about dialogue, Richard, when I started about dialogue. I believe in dialogue, and I believe in the vigilante group. Number two, we set up a response team. Can I answer what he said about
2 minutes.
Okay, about kidnapping and whatever he said. I wasn't involved. I don't know what he's talking about, kidnapping. I had no business in that kidnapping.
Come on.
Now, there's a white paper that came out there's a white paper on the kidnapping. Why didn't they put my name in the kidnapping? It has anything to do with it. What are you talking about? Let me tell you, I was a special assistant to the president of Nigeria in this country that knows about security. There's anyone knows about security. I know about security. Now, let me tell you, he's talking about saying that I'm involved. I'm not involved in anything that concerns kidnapping or anything. It's not I wasn't even in the country when it happened. I was outside the country. When the call came through to me, 2:45 in the morning, I picked the phone, said but the judge said he wants to speak to the president. I said, what happened? He told me what happened. I took the phone to the president. I woke the president and took the phone. The president asked me to call the IG of police and call Atiku, which I did. And the whole thing that's why the whole thing was stopped. So how could I have been involved? If I was involved, I wouldn't have made that phone call. So now...
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, you still have some 30 seconds.
Okay. I said I'll set up a response team in the state, whereby when something happens, there'll be a number that will dial that will come to the rescue, and people immediately, there's an incident. I sponsored the bill in the Senate. The bill I sponsored was the prison reform bill, which I sponsored in the Senate, that was signed by the president into law. That's why it's a prison correctional institution. in the Senate. You're saying I've been 8 years in the Senate not doing anything. What did you do? I made sure you are the central bank governor. What have you done so far? You haven't done anything. You haven't done anything about it. You came from, they brought you to me, and I made sure. My brother brought you. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, audience, please. We need.
How can you say what we know?
Sorry, we need to point out at this here right now. No clapping, no jeering.
Yes, no clapping, no jeering. But at this point, people, it is very obvious. So you can now go to if you exit the comment section, you now see the poll. The poll is live. Can you please now vote? From what you've watched so far, who do you think won this debate? Go ahead.
No cheering, please. Please, absolute silence in the hall so that we can appreciate what the candidates are saying. Thank you very much.
I will show you here without
But like I said, Soludo is really being a very naughty professor, accusing his fellow contestant of forging a certificate, in the public glare. But again, there is the stories on Sahara Reporters anyway. You can go and read it. I'm not going to dive into details, but the story is there. It's been there for over 10 years now. But hey, we are in Nigeria. I don't know if there is any conclusive outcome.
Hello,
gentlemen. Do you have secondary school?
Of course.
Hello, gentlemen.
When?
Come on.
When did you graduate?
1974.
1974?
Yes.
That you have senior school certificate?
Go and check.
In 1974?
Go and check it. I have a
1974?
Yes, go and check.
You have senior school.
Professor Soludo, be coming down. How can you want to? You have removed his boxers. No, you remove his the cap and the top. Eh? Come down. Don't remove his boxers too. He's a fellow man, and you're just.
In Enugu State, it's forgery.
Go and check it. The school is there.
No, you are here.
I don't know what you have. It's not mine. I don't know what you have.
Professor Soludo.
I don't know what you have. It's not mine. So let me tell you something.
Soludo,
you are overstepping your
stay behind your podium.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Please stay behind your podium. Well, very quickly, please.
Thank you.
We want to keep this very civil.
Yes.
Thank you.
No abusive words, no noise from the auditorium. And then, of course, I hope the candidates know that we have a technical team that is fact-checking what everyone is saying. If you make any claim, please be sure that it is correct, because we are fact-checkers. Candidates of the PDP, gentlemen, please allow the candidate of the PDP. He has something to say quickly, very briefly. 2 minutes.
Yes, I'm glad a number of people are saying these were the PDP of the past, both of them. He was actually the candidate of the party, Sam, and these are the dysfunctional parts we're moving away from. We have a better PDP today. When my brother Soludo was talking, again, going back to those theoretical statistics, when a number of people can see what's happening, we have the best unemployment. Show me where the people that get employed. Look at it. I hope you're paying attention. Look at the road networks. Why doesn't he say that we have the worst road network in Nigeria today? Why doesn't he say that we have the worst competitiveness index? I mean, 23 different categories out of 35 in Nigeria. There's several things wrong with Anambra. And if you think it's still not broken, then you're not fit to be here. We know Anambra is broken, and I'm here to fix it. This is the reason I'm on this podium. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. It is understandable that we'll spend a lot of time on, insecurity. One more, let's just do one more. On the issue of IPOB, the proscribed IPOB, and you have the militant arm of IPOB, the ESN. What will you do with IPOB if you become governor? Charles Soludo, you have 1 minute for that, and I'll ask the same question to all the rest of you gentlemen. 1 minute, please.
Did it me?
Yes, please.
Oh, thank you very much. Later we'll come back to the other bit. But on IPOB, I am on record. 2016, 2017, I am on record speaking. I visited Nnamdi Kanu. I didn't know him. I never heard of him. Never heard of IPOB. But when I heard he was in Kuje prison and court order to release him, court judgment to release him, and they refused, I'm the one that led 12 further prominent Igbos to go to Kuje and dialogue with him. And I addressed the international press conference to ask for his release. Thereafter, people started visiting Kuje, and 3-4 weeks later, he was released. I believe that an idea, I may not agree with him, with his views on terms of the destination or even the means, but I believe that in a democracy, you put everything on the table. The Southeast leaders, religious, the bishops, the traditional rulers, the youths, all the groups, they're now working on a consensus that we need to dialogue on this to have a solution. Thank you very much.
Well, please go ahead, Valentine Ozigbo of the PDP. Same question.
Thank you very much. I honestly feel that indeed what is happening is a failure of leadership. Agitation happens when leaders fail their people. And so when there's a vacuum, Nnamdi Kanu came up to fill that vacuum. Obviously, clearly, there are the areas agitation may lead to that may not be exactly how we would want it. But the truth is, those agitations, are they founded? In most cases, yes, because marginalization happens in Nigeria, and now although people are...
Some of you are actually funny. Z is saying, did you stand shorty? I mean, in which planet are you living? The judge said he needs a senator, a sitting senator to stand shorty, and you're asking Soludo if he stood shorty. Come on, you can do better than this.
Victims, and it's happening all over Nigeria. So I urge for dialogue. I urge for him to be released, and I urge for IPOB to be proscribed, so that we can all sit together and solve problems and take Nigeria to another level, and Anambra in particular to where we want it to be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The same question to you, Andy, by the candidate of the APC. What will you do with IPOP, BSN, and other non-state actors?
I believe in engagement, like I said before, like I did in myself. I believe if you don't engage them, how would you know what their problem is? So I believe in that engagement where we sit down and dialogue, because all their problem is work, employment. They don't have employment. So I believe in that engagement. So that's what we do, to sit down with them and engage them and find out what the problem is.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, we're trying to manage time, Professor Soludo. Okay. There will be, you have a chance when you are giving your closing remark. You don't know some of the points that you want to say comment on, but we want to talk about the economy. And let's talk about the infrastructural challenge in Anambra State, particularly roads. If you were to become governor, what will you do about the state of the roads in Anambra State? And also bear in mind the concern of many Anambrans who complain that whenever anybody becomes governor and they want to fix roads, they start in their own part of the state, creating concerns about equity, fairness, and justice in terms of the distribution of infrastructure in the state. Will you be fair when and if you become governor? I'll start with you, Professor Soludo. Again, it's 3 minutes.
No, thank you very much, and I welcome this. He said something about the road. Clearly, the Obiano's government, by implemented the manifesto and did well, because he referenced Peter Obi. Peter Obi relatively did well. He did the roads as an APGA governor, implementing APGA manifesto. Obiano has taken it to the next level. Not only did about 17 bridges, did some roads, and built us an international airport. There is the road challenge that needs to be fixed. I admit that. I've gone around through almost all the villages in Anambra, from Olumbanasa to Owerizukala to Obaru, and all the communities, go to Oka North and so on. Anambra, there is a road challenge, and when I become governor, now continuing from where Obiano stopped, we're going to declare a state of emergency on roads. So that's no question, that's taken off for it, and my manifesto has elaborated on this. But how we get that to do, part of what we got to fix Because several of these, they just say we'll do roads and do that and so on and so forth. You got to deal with numbers. When you quote numbers, somebody says theoretical. That's very embarrassing, I mean, quite frankly. I quoted National Bureau of Statistics. You got to know how many roads are in dysfunction for you to fix it. If you can't measure it, you can't change it. And therefore, we have an agenda of tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and even alternative models, the ones that will be concessioned out, within this umbrella of a state of emergency on roads, the ones that we're going to concession out under PPP thing, the one that will do directly with government financing, and there are places that you have traffic jams that we need to lower. In fact, I had said that, the urban renewal agenda, if I am sworn in tomorrow as governor, I will start the urban renewal from Okpoko. That is the places that haven't got 1 square foot of tarred road, in spite of all the years of Ngige, Mbadinuju, Peter Obi, up till now, that we have to give priority. So I have got it thought through, but more fundamentally, what is different between us is that I have thought through how this will be funded, which is my forte. How and where are we going to get the money to do this? Because even if you devote the entire state budget to fixing roads alone, all the roads that have been flagged off, in 1-2 years, you wouldn't finish them, the entire budget. And so there is a question about financing, alternative mix, and we have laid this out in my manifesto.
All right. You've done your time. Thank you very much. Let me take it to the candidate of the PDP, Valentine Ozigbo. Well, some figures say that Anambra State needs somewhere between $5 to $10 billion to fix the infrastructure gap. That's a humongous amount. And Prof. Soludo has just said the issue is funding. If you become governor, how will you fund the infrastructure gap? And it's not just roads. How?
Before we continue, for many of you who's just joining us, once more, this is Mazes, okay? And you're on to Njenje Media TV International. So what you're going to do for us, please, is to cast your vote. Only how many people voted now? I don't think many of us have voted, or are we boycotting? Only 58 people. Are we boycotting the election already? But even you can go there, even if you're not voting, but at least go and peep. Have a look at who is winning and who is losing. Is your party winning? Is your party losing? You better go and tweet, get people to come and join so that they can vote with you. This is a test. They say the test of the pudding is in the eating. So we are now testing to see if they're going to rig the election, if someone is going to win. So come onto Njenje Media on YouTube and cast your vote. 63 people already submitted their vote. I don't know if you can change your mind if someone said something you didn't like, but so far so good. I have no candidate in this race. I want the best for Anambra, the best. But if you may ask my opinion, I'll reserve my opinion on what I think, how the 3 candidates actually perform. But to listen to my opinion, you have to stay to the end.
Housing is there and other infrastructure that's needed.
Thank you very much. When I made the mention of my big brother Soludo being a tourist, I wasn't missing words. I wish it could point to expertise in execution. Today, 3 of us are from the same local government, Agwata. Iname is where I'm from, my road.
You see, when I tell you people why I have no candidate in this, Valentine Ozigbo said it. 3 of them are from the same local government. 3 of them, including myself. So 4 of us are in the same local government. You see, the dilemma of having to also probably know 3 of them, then I'm just neutral person, like a neutral polish. You know that neutral polish, the one we can use in polish white, black, yellow, and all of them. But again, as we say in Igbo, ana ebukpo onye uche dị, ana ekpoko unu na ekpokokwa malụ ndị anu ya atụele ana ekpoko onye uche dị,
Messi roads better than Sofia roads, better than Oga roads. And these are people who have held high positions that I'm shocked that indeed they're actually even featuring on this debate, quite frankly. And also, when it comes to infrastructure, the basic thing we need to do, when you say you've planned it out, how the funding, I'm not planning it out. I already started announcing what I'm going to do with the roads. For instance, beyond deploying state resources, saving money from wastages that we see in this other government, saving money and channeling it to where it's needed, I've also said how I'm going to leverage the power of private sector. In Nigeria, in Anambra State, the biggest asset we have is our people. How do we leverage our people and their resources and the intellect and ingenuity? And what I've done is to say, I'll create a competitive environment where people are able to support what government is doing, and we encourage them, we recognize them. So if you build 10-kilometer road in your location, which Anambra people are known for, we're actually going to complement. And with that, you can have a bragging right about what you're attracting to your community. And when we do that, we're going to have leftover of places we can now intervene with government resources. The point is, government alone fixed roads. We bring ingenuity beyond just what we can do with state resources, how we can leverage the power of private sector and also leverage the power of multilaterals. There's no other option available. So these are the options. You're not going to borrow expensive bank loans to fix. Is it that you're fixing with your savings from IGR and FAC, or you're fixing, and by cutting waste, by the way, cutting waste is a major part of it. And then also channeling your energy of private sector, which our people are known for. We are intellectually...
IGR is an issue, and it's 28, but it's come from less than 10 billion when this government came in. And we still hope that there are several leakages that need to be plugged. We deploy technology and so on to ramp up our IGR. Certainly comparing with Lagos is a no-brainer. Lagos is about 30-35% of our national GDP. It's not comparable. The size of the economy of Anambra, we want to ramp it up, our IGR, to about somewhere around, if we can make 5%, just 5% of the economy of Anambra in terms of our IGR. And we believe that we have got the experience and the technology to do that. We have done so before. I have developed plans that worked. In the financial services, I developed plans and clinically executed. I was not named the best governor of central bank in the world for nothing. Execution was the major reason given by the Financial Times. And therefore, when I promise and I say, this is what we will do, I promised consolidation, they said impossible, we delivered. I promised to transform the bankrupt mint, they said impossible, we delivered. I promised to deliver, set up a transcore. My friend Obo Tudeko and Co said it was not desirable, but it's got done. And so on and so forth. My record in public service is that I do what I say I will do. And on this one, we're going to ramp up IGR. And of course, come up with some other creative financing, project finance, for example. It's one that I also here, I think I'm the one with the experience who has had to raise over $1 billion to set up a financial institution. And we're going to set up Anambra Development Fund, and I have stated there on my manifesto, $200 million for a start. And then we want to ramp it up over time to $1 billion. I am the only one on the podium who has done it before. And for Anambra, it's a piece of cake for me.
I wonder how you to that. And again, you did say that Soludo is a manager and not a leader, and you facilitated his governorship of the CBN. Yes. Help us clarify that.
Now, I said he's a manager, not a leader, like I said, and I mean it.
Sorry, project, please.
I said he's a manager and not a leader, like I said. And for you to be a leader, you must know what is happening in your environment. And he doesn't know. He's telling me he met me in the villa. How can you meet me? He met me in the villa. I wake up with the president, I sleep with the president. Say I'm a domestic staff for the president. Yes, I'm a domestic that clean the president's shoe. That's what he said. Well, he's alive today, we will tell you. He comes in to use someone to see what can happen. You call me all the time. My brother brought...
I think the debate was really good. I think the debate was really good. Now I'll take about 2-3 minutes um, to take your comments and questions. And reading through the comments, I think someone, Mahama, whatever, wrote both in German and English. You haven't asked me any question because what you're stating, you're making a statement. Both the one you wrote in German, there is no need to answer unless you want to ask a question. Then I can oblige you and answer you. Now, many of you are still making the same mistake, like Ikem Chuda here, who says, "Show me one of the candidates that has developed his community with his personal money and has improved the lives of the people around him. That man, I will vote. Otherwise, we will have the same problem." Again, that's my brother. I think that's where you get it totally wrong. Now, when you are vying for an elective post, what does that got to do with developing your place with your money? I don't know where you live, but assuming you live in the United States, for instance, imagine when the governor of New York, or sorry, mayor of New York, or governor of Arkansas, or governor of, I don't know, wherever, is coming to run for governorship, or the mayor of London, and somebody is asking Sadiq Khan, "Oh, can you show us what you have done in Enfield before we can vote you in?" No. People are voted in based on the content of their brain, what they are able to do. Now, analyze these candidates in terms of content. If I take Andy Uba, for instance, when Soludo pushed him, he talked about the things he did in the Senate. He talked about the bill that changed the prison into correctional center. Question is, you watching now, are you happy with that? Then if you're happy, then vote according to such line of tangible things he has done when he has served in public. Now, whatever somebody does as a philanthropist or as, you know, if I'm contesting for Anambra state election, it will be an absurdity to tell you, "Oh, because I built in 2007, I built school in my community and the former governor of Anambra state came to commission it, therefore you should vote for me." No, you should stone me because that's not my job. I did it the time I built the school. When I give computers to the schools, I give computers. When I donate books to the library, to the schools, I donate books to their library, is because I saw gap where government has failed. I fill them in. That in no way does not make me a government. Now, if we take Val Ozibo, a good friend, you see, he's telling you the things he has done in the private sector. You think it's a small feat for someone to become one of the best top managers in the hospitality industry globally, winning awards everywhere from secondary school to university to the 17 years he spent in the bank, winning award. As I said, from the smell of the fat, you have an idea how the cocoa, which is the shit, how it will taste. If I move over to Professor Soludo, he told you when people said the banking consolidation is not going to work. Remember, before Abacha came in, all we hear is this bank has failed, this bank has failed. Until Abacha came in his own way, he did what we call the failed bank tribunal. Many of you who were old enough to remember them. But that was military knee jerk. What Professor Soludo did in his time was to use to use his brain power and that of his and his team to come up with framework on how to make sure that these things doesn't happen. So if someone is saying, "I'm going to do this," I am more interested. For instance, I couldn't accuse Anduba. It would be very unfair to say, "Anduba, you were a senator. You didn't build road in Oga with your personal money." That's nonsense. But I would accuse Anduba. I say to him, "You were in the Senate and you served the president for freaking 8 years. I did not see any road you attracted to my own local government. as a constituency project. Forget what they did this Christmas. All of them now watch on this platform. I have gone to, I have reported it. My own is, what can you do? I keep saying this. That's probably no friend to anyone, because if you don't get it right, sorry, I can't help to cover nonsense. So if you're not able to tell me, I have influenced 1 kilometer of road, I have, as my constituency project, because it's not for your pocket. Again, I do not expect you to build road out of your pocket when government, or rather, because you built road out of your pocket, as Soludo said, I think Soludo said about 5.5 kilometers or thereabout. And so what? I'm not going to vote you, Professor Soludo, if that is what you're saying you're bringing to the table, that you have hospital, or you build schools, or you do this. No. People should vote, and people should make their choices based on the content and the capacity for the person to deliver on things they promise. It takes a lot for people to actually think abstractly. You know what it means? Someone to just get a plain sheet of paper. You begin to engage your brain. It takes a lot of brain power to probably sketch how a city is going to look like, how a government is going to look like, how a house is going to look like, and start putting them, sketching it, putting it together to the point that someone who saw you maybe 2 hours into that sketch will think, I think this person has virtually taken meth with the OMPA, maybe combined with the Budweiser, because you probably would not be making sense. But like myself, I'm a project manager. I mean, into project management. So just like when we do work breakdown structure, you might look at it, it's in pieces. You look at the project plan, it doesn't make sense. But we need someone who could get these things, paper, this is how I'm going to govern, sketch it out. And we're now looking at it. The only thing that sadly in this thing that I didn't see is timelines. What are you going, because if I was part of this, one of the questions I would ask you is, what are you going to do for us? And it must be recommended it to you on the 100 days of swearing in. You have to be sure that I'm going to make a video and say, okay, this is what you told us you're going to do in 100 days. This is it. Because if that's the, where we need to, get to, that we begin to hold these guys accountable. It's not, as one of them said, blowing grammar. No. It's not about grammar this time around. Our eye don't they shine. It's no longer business as usual. It's no longer business as usual. However, you guys are still voting. Over 200, over 400 people watching across various social media. So if you want to vote, you come to YouTube on Njenje Media TV, so you can vote on Njenje Media TV here, please. But in summary here, I think, if I'm being fair, this debate was amongst you guys want to put me in trouble. You want me to say okay, thank you very much. Ikem Chudi say, I like that. You see, what we do here, no one knows it all. No one is it's island of knowledge. But what we do is in love, we disagree with one another in love without insult, and either you convince me or I convince you. Kachi HM says, on your dot, your analysis is on point. Some people want to give exactly. And again, you see, if we ever make that mistake, please, if we ever make that mistake and think, oh, because he built schools, see what Okorocha did to us in Imo State. All of you thought when Okorocha comes in, he will continue Okorocha the philanthropist. So if a man who has no car, who has no convoy that runs you over, who has not stolen, and is upright, but he has none of these things and he cannot build, but he can manage your money without stealing a kobo. He has great ideas. So you will not vote him because he doesn't have any of these. What has he done to your community? Please, people, I beg us to walk away from that mentality and look for capacity. Because when you are hired for a job, which is a CEO of a company, now in this case, the company is Anambra PLC. Anambra PLC. We are looking for this governorship is we are looking for a new CEO that would either change, go to another direction, or continue in the same trajectory of what the current CEO, whose job is going to expire sometime in March, I think. So we are not looking for another CEO. So the question is, what do you want in the new CEO? Maybe we'll remove the governorship so that some of us will, capture this properly. If you remove that word governorship and the efficiness of it, the way it happens in Nigeria, because many people actually are contesting for this governorship for them to do what and do one thing alone, for them to commingle our money, for them to what they call onoma government, for them to only ride in big cars, in 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 cars, in convoys, wasting fuel unnecessarily. And at the end of the day, nothing is going to be done. We want someone who is a deep thinker. We want someone who, if I was the governor of Anambra State, I'll say this, I'll probably not have built the type of airport we have. While why can't we do something nice? I'm not, the airport maybe is good to his own level, but in my case, I'll probably use the same money that we have used and I will build something that when you see it, you know that somebody with gray matters in between their skulls actually engage their brains. If I stay at the realm of airport, you go to Enugu and you think, well, you can forgive them because that's a very old airport built in the 70s. But if you go to Ebonyi State, for instance, and see the design of that airport, you would begin to see semblance of sanity. So why can't we, when we do it right? So when we want to do it right, we are looking for a CEO. This is a company. Anambra State, the state is a company. And we are looking for somebody to manage the resources and drive this state into certain strategic direction, not emotions, not drive convoys. Someone with intellectual capacity to, when you assemble board meetings in your cabinet, having the intellectual sagacity to engage the assemblies, to engage various foreign partners and donors and what have you. We must get somebody that will take us into 21st century, not anyone amongst all those that contesting, not someone that was going to take us into the 1990s and 2000s. Anyone. Do not vote for anyone who does not understand and have a clear idea what cryptocurrency is. If you talk about NFTs and somebody doesn't understand it, you talk about technologies and they do not understand it, anyone, I cannot vote for you if you're going to say, come and please come and open this telephone for me because they fit for purpose, because we cannot use 1995 mindset to get into the future. The future is technology. The future is science. Anyone who hasn't got the brain power to understand science, understand empiricism, understand what development is, has nothing, absolute nothing. Maybe take it to your state, but in the state of Anambra State, that person has nothing to look for in the government house. This is CEO. One of the questions that I wasn't so happy, the answers all of them gave, is, listen, if you're coming for the job of a CEO and they ask you, haven't looked at our ledger, haven't looked at our books, how are you going to improve the revenue generation? How are we going to create? No company runs on manners. Companies do make profit. Now, if we make profit, what is your projection? How is this profit going to be split? How are you going to invest and reinvest? For example, we have two contrasting viewpoints. We have the former governor, who is a prudent manager of resources, who saved money, about 75 million, when some people say, well, that is contestable now. Now we have someone who took over from him, who in an interview, because that's an interview, that debate, in an interview said, well, you cannot be saving while people are hungry. Well, literally, without giving it a deeper thought, it sounds true. But if you are a father and you know what it means to save for the school fees of your children, yes, there are times that it means if the kids have to skip meals, even you as a father, if it means that you have to do 101, skip meals for you to be able to pay for the future of your children, you do it. But you see that, kind of departure where someone thinks in one direction and the other person goes in the other direction. Please, this is not about emotion. This is not about what I'm going to get. Oh, my party is APC, my party is APCA, my party is this, my party is YPP, my party is this. No, we must look for someone who has the intellectual capacity. We must look for someone. And in this debate, we'll have it. I'll tell you one thing. Anambra is the cradle of the Igbo nation. Some of you may disagree. But there are things that if it happens in Anambra, it affects the whole of Igbo nation greatly. Leave your emotion at home. Engage your brain. This is not a time to run away and say you're not going to vote. This is a time that the enemy is knocking at the door, that if we allow them to come in, the wolves are going to knock and the wolves will consume the chickens that we have. Now is the time to stand akimbo and say to yourselves, we must defend ourselves. We must now defend ourselves, our future, the future of the children. Even if you're watching me, you haven't married, you don't have kids, even if you are, then you should know and begin to think beyond you and beyond your immediate gratifications. Some of us, no matter how much you've been offered, please, my brothers and sisters, we say no. Are we able to get a leader from these men you have watched and those that haven't joined them in the modes of M.I. Okpara? That is what we should be looking for. There is time that the time has come for us to ignore the things happening at the federal level and look inward and fix the foundation at home. Because if we get it right at home, people, I tell you, and I miss no word, we can become the Bayern of Nigeria. We can become the Barcelona of Spain. We can create whatever we want. While you hope for the best, begin now and look for what you do, what you can do to cover yourself. Yes, there is a place we can have fantasies, we can have ideas on when you be on your own, then you do this. No. Now, with the little we have, let us calm down, people. Let us begin to speak to one another and let us elect that person that when people, when men like M.I. Okpara, when the whole world was running helter-skelter, by engaging his brain, he didn't know it all, but he was able to assemble the best of the best. And he listened because he had a vision where he wanted to take the old Eastern region too. Because he had that vision, he was able to look at people, assemble them. We have men here who should be able and will be able to talk to international communities on some certain issues and be able to carry them in. We have men here who no one will be looking at in a very crooked way, thinking, oh, is he able to do this? Is he going to do this? No. We after Saturday, we should be able to be in a position to say, in the Anambra, pat yourselves in the back that you've made the right choice. And now let the job be that in the next 4 to 8 years, you and I will have the job to say, oh God, this is what you told us on 1st October, Arise TV. This is the video. Why haven't you done it? What can you do to me? What can you do? I can't insult you, but at least I will disgrace you with the fact if you do not do the things you promised. It's no longer business as usual, people. We are now wild awake. You can no longer come to us, oh, I'll tie road, I'll fire you. Which fire? Did they fire us? Are we fire? People, please. And again, we must, M.I. Okpara, may his soul rest in peace. May his soul rest in peace. We must elect men in that league. Again, the favorite video I like and something that always gives me great hope is that video of M.I. Okpara. Let me see if I can find that video. I will leave us this evening with his video. Think about it. It's a very short video. Think about it. His concept of Onyaga na Nwanne. What we now need to do is someone in the mode of M.I. Okpara, someone who could act as the prime minister for the great Igbo nation to coordinate others, because others we have now, they are sleeping. We need to flog them up. We need to wake them up. We need to panel beat them into shape. We need someone in the mode of M.I. to stand up, and someone who unequivocally can look into the eyes of the federal government and say, no, this wouldn't sit well with the great Igbo nation. Therefore, we are not going to accept it. But how are we going to get there if we all run away and say, we're not going to vote? Who are you hurting? You're hurting yourself. Yes, we haven't got all in the last so many years by the choices made, sometimes us, sometimes imposed. Just like when I started this video, I showed us about this Professor Yusuf, who is now saying that Buhari is not doing well. Yet the same man, when the southern governors came together to talk about how to protect their place in coming together and look for ban open grazing, and he was talking nonsense. Today, the same man is saying, oh, they are killing them and the president doesn't care. If he doesn't care, go to the root of it. The root of the problem is leadership. We must have a responsive leadership. Do not let others decide for you. If not for anything, state level, that you can decide. Those that you want to leave that for don't have two heads. People, on that note, I'll leave us with this M.I. Okpara, the great one. Listen to him and chew about it. Again, if you haven't subscribed to this platform, I beg you, please do. If you haven't also liked this video, please do. Share with others. I will leave us to watch this, and remember to cast your vote live on Njenje Media TV on YouTube. Thank you very much for being my guest this evening. I am still Mazi Ezoke. Good evening and good night.
Kenga. Oh, Kenya. You shall yet see your sunrise, Kenya. You shall yet see your sunrise.
My first encounter with him was in December 1940.
He was a gifted man all around. There is no area you talk about or you walk about that he will not show you how it is done.
He was able to use cocoa, palm oil, and a few other products locally to run one of the fastest growing economies in the world.
That he was nicknamed MI Power.
Later, Dr. Michael Babara.
Okpara took over at a time when there were no institutions.
Even though the eastern region was the poorest of the regions at the time.
He was a pioneer. He had to lay the foundation for this.
Whatever he sets his hands on, which is good, he will see to it that it is done properly.
From January till December, there was always a new project, that was commissioned.
He's a very pragmatic person, but always rooted in the people.
Like that, as if he was so, he was in such a hurry that he wanted to do so much.
Unfortunately, the Civil War dislocated so many things.
I personally felt extremely sad.
Because the ideas and the principle which they stood for, their successors in many cases didn't follow. And that's where we are seeing to today.
Onyagala 1 year. That's leave nobody behind. Philosophy of the Igbo community. That's what it built into.
The politics of then was politics of principles.
Truth was that he was an honest man. He was really a nationalist. He didn't build a house, even in his hometown. He was a dedicated Nigerian of Igbo extraction.
Down forever. We shall rise again. We shall yet see our sunrise. The Kenyan sunrise.